Ladies and gentlemen, dreamers and doers, let me remind you of a truth that has echoed through time. Whatever the mind can conceive and believe, it can achieve. Those immortal words were not crafted for comfort. They were forged in the fire of purpose to stir the soul into action. Dreams are not idle fantasies. They are the blueprints of greatness. But a dream without action is merely a wish, a castle built in the clouds with no foundation. To manifest the life you desire, you must move with deliberate, daily action. Before we begin this journey of the mind and spirit, let me ask you to do something not just for me, but for yourself and for others like you, who seek greatness, clarity, and purpose, if you find power in truth. If you believe in ideas that can change your life, then click that like button. It's a small action with a big ripple. Subscribe so you never miss a message that could transform your thinking. Hit the bell icon because inspiration waits for no one. And most importantly, share this message, not just to spread words, but to spread fire to spark someone else's dream back to life. Now, with that done, let's get to the real reason you're here. Every journey worth taking begins with a clear destination. Yet, most people drift through life like ships without rudders, tossed by the waves of circumstance, guided not by intention, but by habit, by fear, or by the desires of others. If you want to rise above mediocrity, if you desire to truly live rather than merely exist, you must first decide, with absolute clarity, what it is you want from life. This is not a casual wish or a fleeting dream. This is your definite major purpose, the one goal, the one desire, the one outcome that, if achieved, will give your life profound meaning. It must be so vivid in your mind, so compelling to your spirit, that it awakens you with energy each morning and refuses to let you sleep in idleness at night. It must become the central focus around which your thoughts, actions, and decisions revolve. To find it, look inward, not to what the world expects of you, but to what your heart beats for. What fills you with passion? What would you do even if no one paid you? What contribution would you make if you knew you could not fail? This is not mere fantasy. This is the seed of purpose. And when you plant that seed with intention and water it with daily action, it grows into a life of significance. Once you define this purpose, write it down. Speak it aloud. Let it become the very blueprint of your daily existence. Carry it in your thoughts like a torch through the darkness. And understand this, when your mind is fixated on a clearly defined objective, it becomes magnetized. You begin to attract ideas, people, opportunities, and energy in perfect harmony with your goal. But without this clarity, without a definite purpose, you will waste your power. You will chase too many paths and arrive at none. Life will pass you by not because you lacked talent, but because you lacked direction. So I urge you, take time today to define your major purpose. Make it so clear that nothing can shake it. Make it so strong that no obstacle can stop it. For once your mind is made up and your vision locked in, the universe itself will begin to rearrange in your favor. That is not merely motivation. That is the law of achievement. Faith is not just belief. It is not blind optimism or wishful thinking. Faith is the inner certainty, the unwavering trust that what you seek is already yours, that the dream planted in your heart was placed there for a reason, and that its fulfillment is not only possible, but inevitable if you act in alignment with it. No man or woman ever achieved greatness without faith. It is the root of all extraordinary accomplishment. When the world says, "You can't," faith whispers, "You will." When failure tries to convince you to quit, faith says, "Keep going." It is the invisible force that allows you to walk by vision, not by sight, to move forward even when logic says turn back. Understand this. Your belief in yourself sets the ceiling of your success. You will never rise higher than the level of your own faith. If you believe, you are destined to struggle, to fall short. to live small, then that is precisely what you will attract. But if you believe you were born with purpose, created with greatness in your bones, and backed by an unseen power that conspires in your favor, then you step into a force that cannot be measured or denied. But faith must be built just like a muscle, and it is built through action. Every time you take a step forward toward your dream, even when you're afraid, your faith grows. Every time you overcome an obstacle, keep a promise to yourself, or rise after failure, you reinforce that inner certainty. This is how faith is formed, not in moments of ease, but in moments of decision. And let it be known, true faith is not passive. It does not sit idly by, hoping and waiting. It moves, it acts, it persists. When you combine faith with a clear purpose and persistent action, you become an unstoppable force. That is when doors open that once seemed closed. That is when unseen hands begin to work in your favor. That is when your dream starts to become your reality. So if you are waiting to feel ready, you are waiting in vain. Readiness is not a feeling, it is a decision. And faith is the fuel that drives that decision forward, day after day, no matter what the world throws in your path. Cultivate it, guard it, speak life to it, and never let anyone or anything talk you out of the belief that you are meant for more. That belief is not arrogance, it is alignment. It is faith, and it is the beginning of everything. You may have the clearest vision in the world. You may possess a burning desire, backed by faith, and a plan laid out to the letter. But without one essential ingredient, your dream will never take form in the physical world, and that ingredient is persistent, consistent action. You see, the universe does not reward intentions, it rewards action. It rewards the person who shows up day after day, rain or shine, motivated or not, and puts in the work required to move the vision forward, even if only by an inch. Success does not come in a flash of brilliance or a stroke of luck. It comes through steady, unrelenting effort over time. One of the greatest misconceptions in life is that you need to be inspired in order to act. That is backwards thinking. Action precedes inspiration. When you act even in the smallest of ways, momentum begins to build, doubt fades, clarity sharpens, and the path becomes more visible. Action ignites belief, and belief fuels even more action. You must become the kind of person who follows through, not occasionally, not when it's convenient, but every single day. Do not be deceived by the simplicity of this idea. There is profound power in repetition. Brick by brick, day by day, consistency turns ordinary effort into extraordinary results. But persistence is more than just doing, it is continuing to do in the face of resistance. It is the decision to keep moving forward when you hear no after no, when doors close, when you fall short, when others give up. The persistent individual is not deterred by failure, because they understand that failure is not defeat, it is instruction. Every setback carries within it the seed of a greater comeback, but only if you stay in motion long enough to receive the lesson, and do not confuse motion with progress. Busy work is not the same as meaningful work. The action must be purposeful, it must be in direct alignment with your definite major purpose. Every morning, ask yourself, what action can I take today that moves me one step closer to my goal? Then do that relentlessly, repeatedly, without excuse. There will be days when progress is invisible, days when you feel like nothing is working, days when you question your path. Those are the moments that separate the dreamers from the achievers. Most people quit because they measure their dream by how they feel. The successful continue because they measure their dream by their commitment. Let this truth sink in. You do not need to do everything at once, but you must do something every day, for small disciplines repeated with consistency are the seeds from which empires grow. So decide right now that you will be the one who keeps going, who does not flinch, who acts daily, and does not stop until the dream becomes real. Because in the end, it is not the most talented who succeed, it is the most persistent. Desire without direction is like a flame without fuel. It flickers for a moment, then dies. No matter how strong your ambition, how vivid your dream, or how deep your faith, you must harness all of that energy into a clear, actionable strategy. Wishing will not bring you riches. Planning, backed by action, will. Every great structure begins with a blueprint. So too must your life of success. You cannot afford to wander through your days, reacting to the world as it comes. You must take control, deliberate, strategic control, by developing a plan so detailed, so intentional, that your mind cannot help but act upon it. Planning transforms chaos into clarity. It eliminates hesitation and replaces guesswork with precision. It allows you to make decisions swiftly because your path is already defined. A plan is not just a tool, it is a declaration to yourself and to the world that you are not hoping for success, you are building it. Now understand this, no plan is perfect at the start. Your first plan may be flawed. That is not failure, it is feedback. Planning is not a one-time event, it is a living process. As you take action and gather experience, you will revise, refine, and reorganize your approach. Flexibility is not weakness, it is wisdom, but never let the need for perfection prevent you from beginning. An imperfect plan executed today is far more powerful than a perfect plan never begun. Your organized plan should begin with your definite major purpose, broken down into milestones, then further into daily actionable steps. These steps must be clear, measurable, and prioritized. What must be done this week to move forward? What must be done today? What must be done in the next hour? This level of clarity eliminates confusion, procrastination, and wasted energy. But planning does not stop at writing goals. It extends to resourcefulness. Who do you need to help you? What knowledge must you gain? What tools must you acquire? What habits must you replace? Planning forces you to think like a builder, assembling every piece necessary for your vision to stand firm. And one of the most overlooked elements of planning is accountability. Review your plan daily, measure your progress weekly, make course corrections monthly. This habit alone will separate you from 90% of the population because most people don't plan and even fewer follow through. Remember this, success is never accidental. It is always the result of well-organized thought, translated into bold action. The greatest fortunes, the greatest movements, the greatest transformations the world has ever known all began with someone who took the time to plan their way forward and then had the courage to act. So do not wait for the right time. Do not rely on chance. Sit down, get focused, build your plan, and then work your plan like your life depends on it, because, quite honestly, it does. No individual has ever risen to greatness alone. Behind every success story, behind every empire built, every innovation born, every movement that shook the world, you will find not just a solitary thinker, but a circle of minds working in harmony toward a shared vision. This is the power of the mastermind, a principle as old as achievement itself, and one of the most vital forces you can harness on your journey to success. The mastermind is more than just a team. It is more than networking or casual collaboration. It is a deliberate alliance of individuals who align in purpose, lift each other higher, challenge one another's limits, and offer perspectives that one mind alone could never see. When two or more minds come together in perfect harmony, they create a third, invisible mind, a greater intelligence, a higher energy capable of producing ideas, insights, and solutions that would otherwise be impossible. If you are attempting to build your dream in isolation, understand this: you are limiting your potential. No matter how intelligent, resourceful, or driven you are, your growth will plateau unless you begin to leverage the power of collective thinking. You need people around you who believe in your vision, who will hold you accountable, who will challenge your complacency, and who will remind you of your greatness when you forget it yourself. But not just any people. You must be intentional with those you allow into your circle. You must choose your mastermind with discernment. Surround yourself with those who are ambitious, solution-oriented, and committed to growth. Avoid the company of the cynical, the complainers, the excuse makers, for their influence is as real as gravity, and it will pull you downward. Energy is contagious, and so is mediocrity. When you surround yourself with the right people, your standard for yourself begins to rise. You think bigger, you move faster, you begin to believe more boldly, not because someone handed you confidence, but because greatness echoes through your environment and calls something forward from within you. And don't just receive from your mastermind, contribute. Share your knowledge, encourage others, offer support without expectation. A mastermind thrives on mutual benefit, where each member gives and grows together. In this environment, you not only build your dream faster, you become the kind of leader others are proud to stand beside. One idea sparked in the right conversation can alter the course of your life. One connection can open doors that would have remained closed. One challenge from the right person can pull you out of a rut that you might have stayed stuck in for years. So ask yourself, who am I listening to? Who do I speak to about my vision? Who am I becoming like, simply because I spend time with them? The answers to those questions are not small, they are decisive. They determine whether your journey will be slow and solitary or accelerated and amplified. Form your mastermind, cultivate it, protect it, and meet with it regularly. In doing so, you will not only multiply your results, you will multiply your belief, your wisdom, and your power. Because in the end, the man or woman who surrounds themselves with greatness cannot help but become great. Your dream is waiting on the other side of daily, determined action. Success is not a mystery, it is a method. And that method is action, guided by purpose, driven by faith, executed with persistence. So I ask you today, what will you do today for your dream? Not tomorrow, not someday, today. Take daily action, stay the course, and you will without question achieve the success your heart desires. Thank you.